This could be one of the fastest and easiest ways to get up and running, especially for someone who doesn't have a ton of experience in real estate. In the United States right now, there are 76 million baby boomers. The number one dilemma for these baby boomers? Housing. That dilemma can be your opportunity. Welcome to the Assisted Living Network podcast, where you can discover how just one residential assisted living home could secure your financial future forever. Hey, it's Isabel from the Assisted Living Network. Let's talk about the top 4 ways to get started in residential assisted living. First is a ground-up build. Next, you could lease a home to use for this. Third, you could convert a single-family home to use for it. And fourth, you could buy an existing business. So let's talk about building from the ground up. This could take you as long as 1 to 2 years and cost you $1 million upwards to purchase the land, build the entire home, furnish it, and then support it during the time as you're marketing to fill it with residents. Some of the pros of building custom is that it's built to suit. And if you're in a city where they allow 12 or more residents in a home, it's hard to find a home that's perfectly suitable for this. So this could be that perfect solution. Some cons is that it can take a long time and cost a lot of money. And if you have no experience building, I know that this could be a little scary. So keep in mind the pros and the cons. Now, the second way that you can get started in this industry is to lease a home to use for this. This could be one of the fastest and easiest ways to get up and running, especially for someone who doesn't have a ton of experience in real estate. Basically, you're partnering with someone who's going to own the real estate. They've done the renovations. They've added fire suppression, ramps, guardrails, handrails, more bedrooms and bathrooms, smooth, clean floors, and you're just going to lease it from them. All you have to do is furnish it, staff it, and market it. Now, some pros for leasing a home is that it's one of the faster, easier methods. Now, nothing's easy, but it's easier. Someone put in all the capital up front, so it's less money for you out of your pocket to start, and you can pretty much get started right away. Some cons, you're stuck with the renovations that they did, and you don't own the real estate, so you're not getting equity in the long term. And when the lease is up, where will you go? I don't want to scare you, but the other day I had a care home owner call me, and she's not a past student, but she's in the industry and she knows about me and the academy. And she called and she said, "Hey, my lease just expired and the person who owns the real estate, they're kicking me out. And I've got 10 residents. Where do we go?" I was like, oh no, yikes, this is bad. She's like, "Well, I think that I could transfer the license, but it's probably going to take 6 weeks. She said I have to be out by the end of the month." The end of the month was like 2 weeks away, you guys. I was freaking out for her. She's like, "What do I do? Do I just shut down shop and tell all my seniors, hey, you've got to be replaced. We're closing business." Now, having contracts in place that favor you as the leasee, that's going to be really important. And partnering with someone like the Residential Assisted Living Academy is going to really help you make sure you have all that documentation in place so that you don't get screwed over. Because when I got that call, I was freaking out for her. And thank goodness she got an extension on that lease, but the owner was not very pleased. And this is not how you want to go about doing business. So those contracts are going to be key. The third way to get started is probably one of the most popular methods. It's to convert a single family home into a residential assisted living home. And I think that people really like this one because they're used to fix and flips and different things of that nature. So when you're considering getting into the business, this could be a great way to maximize an investment property maybe you already have. It could take 6 to 12 months, give or take, to get the home under contract, renovated, or get it licensed if you don't own it, and then furnishing it, staffing it, and marketing it to fill with residents. Some pros, you may have something that already works for this and would cash flow better as a residential assisted living home. You may not have to do much renovation, and it's definitely easier than a ground up build. And the timeline can be a little bit shorter than a ground up build. Now, the cons, you can't tear down the neighborhood or relocate the home, and the neighbors might get mad. We'll talk about that on another episode, but you have to work with what's already there if it's an existing home or business. And so you really want to make sure that you consider that, because When you purchase a single family home, unless you're completely taking it down to the studs and reworking the entire floor plan, which more than likely you're not, right? You're just going to, add a bedroom and bathroom, maybe widen a doorway, maybe convert the garage into a bedroom, all these little things. You're really stuck with the layout of the home, you're stuck with the feel of the home, and you're stuck with the neighborhood. You could tear down the house and build the Taj Mahal, but if the rest of the neighborhood feels and looks yucky, then you're kind of stuck. So pros and cons. The fourth and final way to get started is to buy an existing business. Now, this is by far the fastest way to get started because the work is already done for you. You're literally coming in and buying someone else's business. It's up and ready. It's filled with staff and residents. It has a reputation and a presence in the community. There are 30,000 group homes across our country today. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all care homes, but there are a lot that probably are. Maybe at least 20,000 of that total 30,000. So there may be one for business. Now, listen up close. Typically, these homes are being run mom and pop. About 80% of the industry is run mom and pop, meaning the person who owns it lives in the home, works in the home. They're the caregiver, the administrator, the cook, the baker, the candlestick maker, you name it. Now, typically after about 7 or 8 years, they start to burn out and they're looking for an option, maybe you, to come in and buy their business. But their business is their baby. So you've got to go about this sensitively. Know what to say, know how to get in contact with them, know what things you're going to want to see in that contract so that you make sure the vacancy rates don't go down during the sale process. It's going to be really important that you go about this in a particular manner. And if you don't have any experience buying or selling businesses, or you've never been in the residential assisted living business, don't worry, I've got the resources for you. Residential Assisted Living Academy is a training course where we teach and train people just like you how to work with these 4 methods so that you don't make any mistakes along the way. Because when you're buying someone's business, you're also buying their problems. So if their staff was lazy or wanted to get paid more or complained all the time, you're buying that. Now, some pros to getting in this way: it's the fastest and easiest way to do this. Never easy, just easier, okay? And you're potentially cash flowing day one. Now, some cons: it may be overpriced, it may have a bad reputation, the staff may leave, or you may want them to leave, the residents may get stolen, or you may not want to keep the staff or the residents, and you may be buying someone else's problems, just like I said before. You're also probably going to have to redo the books. Now, the bank may not want to lend on this if they're telling, the government, the bank, that they're making $0, which, I'm not trying to hate on them, but we're going to have to recast the financials, recast the books, because it's not going to be a buyable business, a sellable business, if they're not making any money in the eyes of the law. So when we do those recasting, if they are the end all be all in the business, they're working in the home and living in the home, we're going to have to add in some expenses as well as take out some expenses, because maybe they're not running things the way that you as a professional business owner would be running it. The reality is, when people ask this question, well, what of the 4 ways is the best way? The reality is that the answer is, you need to be open to opportunities, because if category number 2 comes up, and even if you don't have experience in it, be ready for that opportunity. Take that opportunity. Don't be so stuck that it has to be number 1 or 3 or 4, whatever the case is. Be open to opportunities, and that's how you'll be more successful in this industry. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks for listening to the Assisted Living Network.